not gonna bump to this song, but then you start catching a vibe. I'm sorry, not sorry.
Yeah.
East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang,
Whoa,
gang.
East Coast with that gang gang. You know we don't play games, whoa. Hop up on that wagon, oh please just get out the way. You know we stay stuntin', right up in your face. We sorry, not sorry, we just stuck up in our ways. West Coast gon' head stand up, put that glass and hands up. Gang, we famed up, got that change, we bagged up.
Welcome everyone to 937. Drop a comment, drop some biceps and some gorillas. Are you raging? Are you ready? Are you ready for some gains? Get those alerts. If you're not turning on your notifications, you slacking, boosh. Don't be a boosh. Episode 937, don't be a boosh. I'm on boosh patrol. Boosh patrol. Turn that shit up if you're at work. Let everyone know. Papa Swole is here to slam some taint.
Good versus evil, God in his prime, always in prime, always on time, our time to shine. Wifey is fine, I'm doing fine. Glad that you asked. God fill me up, mud in my glass. God clean me up, all that I ask. Wherever you headed the fast. I'm ahead, you are in last. Last time I checked, you are all gas. Gas in the whip it up fast. Fast and all furious, I'm starting to spaz. I'm curious, you put me on blast. Blasting that Darius, kids in the back.
Come.
The future is black. Black like T'Challa, Wakanda attack.
I'm in it to win it, fam. Ready to get those gains? Good Friday morning from Australia. If it's your first time watching the Swole, drop a comentario. Say hello. It's my first time. My name is me. Alright, time to dance, bish. Do it. Yeah, all fitness without the bullshit.
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the
bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole. Testing. 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 Testicles. Testicles. Oh, welcome everyone to episode 947 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular Swolecast, Beardcast, Broadcast, Gangcast, Mancast, Pimpcast, Sleazecast, Slaycast, and Thursday cast in the realm, because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. That was a nice one. That was smooth. That intro was lubed up and slippery. You know how we do it? It's cold. I just took off my my hoodie, and yeah, because I don't like wearing clothes, really. I don't like wearing clothes. I'm spoiled down here in Florida, but man, if it's not cold as fuh. And a lot of you are going to laugh at me because I've been posting in my Instagram story that, it's been fucking cold. It's fucking cold, man. It's fucking cold. What do you want me to say? It's cold relative to what I'm used to. I'm used to 95 degrees and sweaty balls, and all of a sudden, in one day time, it just drops to 45 degrees. Like, fuck. Drops to 45 degrees. So it's freezing. In comparison, a lot of you are like thinking, I wish it was 60 degrees. I wish it was 60. But yeah, when you're used to hot and sweaty and humid, it's cold. It's definitely cold. What temperature is it where you're at? Where are you watching from? Let's do roll call. Roll call, go around the room, go around the world, actually. Where are you watching from? So tell me. Drop in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining. We're live on Facebook, Instagram, Periscope, YouTube, and Twitch. That's a good point, Colton. Would it be a Daily Swole if you had a shirt on? I don't know. That's a good question. It's like if a tree falls in the woods and no one's around to hear it, doesn't make a noise. If Papa Swole goes live and he's wearing clothes, did he go live? Did he Daily Swole today? I don't know. I think it would sound different on the podcast, even though you can't see me. I think it would sound different if I had clothes on. And most of you probably know or assume I'm not wearing pants either. I'm just kidding. I'm wearing my America pants. I'm wearing my kicking pants. Portland, Oregon, Texas, Florida, but it's cold. I know, Vince. I know. See, I don't want a sleeveless Swole sweater. I'm not a fan. I don't know if I could. I don't know if I'm that kind of guy. I'm a man bun guy, but I don't know how cliche I want to get. I don't know if I want to go hoodie with sleeveless. You know, I don't like that. It's like my head's cold, but my arms are fine. That's probably exactly what I need. I probably actually need one of those sleeveless hoodies, but I just don't get it. I don't understand. LA 65 and raining. Well, that's good. Are those fires out yet? Rain's good for that shit. Kentucky, Mad City, Wisconsin, Dallas, Texas, Vero Beach, Florida. It's cold. Florida's cold. We got 3 degrees in Benton Harbor, Michigan. Ooh. Ugh. Michigan. Ooh. Chicago. Oh, you're trucking. Good man. Rhode Island. India, 19 degrees. Welcome from across the world. India represent. Got a bunch of people that come in from India. Got some people, members of Swolenormous X in India. San Diego. Papa Swolio is here. Fuggin' A. Yes, I am. Let me post this up. We got, what's today? 9:37. So today's episode is actually a funny one because I'll give you some backstory on what the title of this episode is. It's called CULKING. Let me see. Daily Swole 9:37. And the funny thing about the word CULKING is that it's a combination of 2 words, a combination of bulking and cutting. And a friend of mine, we were trainers together when I first moved down to Florida, and we would train all the time. We would train hard. Some of the nastiest workouts I've ever done were with him. And we started, we were trying to, we were talking, every time we would work out, we were joking because it's really not possible unless you're taking like a ton of juice. Like, if you're going to bulk, we'll talk about that in a little bit because I've been getting a lot of questions. I'll explain the context. But CULKING and it was either budding or CULKING, and budding doesn't sound good. So CULKING, cut bulking, getting lean and bigger at the same time. We're going to talk about the Macaulay. Well, that's actually one of my shirts. Macaulay CULKING, Macaulay bulking. The difference between my mindset now and where it was then is totally different in terms of training. My focus is more on mobility, recovery, and of course being consistent. But when it comes to building muscle, there's a big misconception. There's a big misconception that there is some ability to build muscle and lose fat. And I understand from an outside perspective. It would seem reasonable. I want to build muscle. I want to lose fat. Most of us want to do that. Isn't that pretty much the foundation and the basic principle for anything you'll do in the gym? That's what you want to do. You don't want extra fat and you want to build muscle. Everyone wants that. I don't think there's anyone on the face of the earth that does not want to build muscle and lose fat. Most people want to get rid of fat and most people want to build muscle. You want to have a physique. You don't want to have extra fat covering it. You want to look a certain way. You want both of those things. The thing with the body and how the body actually works, and the reason why we're talking about this today is I posted on Instagram. I've been doing a ton of DMs. I've been answering a ton of messages because I've been doing a lot of coaching chats because 2019 is right around the corner. So I've been doing a lot of one-on-one little mini consultations, right? I'm really trying to figure out how I can help you crush 2019. So I want you to have the best year ever coming up in 2019. 2018 was great. A lot of you came across my content. You found the podcast. You jumped in. So I really highly encourage you to send me a message, especially on Instagram. It's very easy for me to get back on Instagram. So if you send me a DM, I encourage you to do that. And I want to really get the pulse of where people are struggling. And you as an individual, because everyone has their own journey. You're going to have a specific situation that needs to be addressed specifically. And it's so common for people to try to map their own journey based on someone else and based on someone else's progress or someone else's struggles or what someone else wants. A lot of you want abs because you think abs mean fitness and people like abs. So you want abs. But that's more of like an arbitrary desire because you think society, it will reflect upon you that you're in shape, that you're validated because you have abs. Most people want results that isn't truly something they want deep inside. It's based on what other people would value. Okay. Thus why people like fancy clothes and fancy watches and fancy cars and expensive things and brand and designer things because, ooh, I'm successful. Ooh, this means that I have money, X, Y, and Z. So there's nothing that much different when it comes to a physique. The main difference is that when you have a physique and you take care of your body and you have health, that is good for you, okay? It doesn't matter if you're wearing a fancy watch, you could still be sickly and die. So the difference is that this is actually going to benefit your health. It's actually going to benefit your ability to live longer and more vibrantly. So it's like a double-edged, it can go two directions. You can go very superficial and try to obtain and chase a certain weight loss, right? A certain number. So these messages I've been getting, and I like to do a ton of messages because I get common themes in what people want, especially my audience, all of you. I want to know what is most important, what topics are most important to you. And most of you are really trying to do both. You're trying to lose fat, build muscle, and a lot of you are still focusing arbitrarily on a number, whether it's muscle gain or whether it's weight loss. How many of you have a number in mind? And I'm not saying this is your bad thing, you're wrong, you shouldn't do this, you're bad boy, bad girl. I'm not scolding you, but how many of you keep in your mind you want to lose 10 pounds? What's your goal? Do you have a number that you tell yourself? Do you have a number that you kind of focus on or you come back to? Are you trying to lose 20 pounds? Are you trying to gain 10 pounds? Do you have a number in mind? Whether you did in the past. And one of the interesting things, and we discussed this yesterday, I believe, is that a lot of these numbers are pretty arbitrary. You'll pick 20 pounds, 25 pounds, 5 pounds, just because they're round numbers, they're easy to understand. And a lot of these numbers are very arbitrary, and the work gets disguised behind those numbers. It's very easy to say, I want to lose 50 pounds. It's very easy to say, I want to lose 50 pounds. When you say, I want to lose 50 pounds, you're saying that to other people, but you're also having this internal dialogue with yourself. You're telling yourself, I want to lose 50 pounds. And that's a very big number. That number doesn't truly reflect the amount of work that comes behind it, if that makes sense. It doesn't reflect the amount of work. It doesn't reflect the effort. 50 pounds is months, if not potentially years of effort, because you're not going to always make progress. You're going to have roadblocks. You're going to fall off. Your body is going to plateau. And when you chase a number, it can often be like this mirage in the distance that you're just going after, and you're endlessly running on this wheel that isn't as satisfying as you think it would be. Now, it's important. I can totally understand. That you want to lose 50 pounds for your health and for your wellness. I'm not saying that's not important, but what we've been discussing this past week is that the approach to your fitness fundamentally, if you approach your fitness the right way, that is a side effect that will come. That will come as a result of you changing your mindset and your approach to fitness at a fundamental level. You'll be healthier, you'll lose weight, you'll build muscle, and you can get what you want. But making that the primary goal and being validated based on the number on the scale is very, very dangerous because it only gives you one dimension. It tells you how much the earth is pulling you into the ground. It doesn't tell you your body fat percentage. It doesn't tell you your strength improvements. It doesn't tell you your mobility, right? I want to add 6 inches to my height. Please help. So, don't know what to do about that. That's why I have the man bun. The man bun gives me like an inch if I put it on top. That's the secret. Gives you some height, gives you advantage, scares away the enemies. So that being said, it's very easy to want to lose fat. It's very easy to throw around numbers. Now, when it comes to throwing around numbers, that is one aspect of what I've been seeing. People are still focusing on numbers, still focusing on the scale. And the scale is a valuable tool, but it's a tool nonetheless. And it's a tool that needs to be used properly and needs to be used with respect. And most people disrespect the use of the scale. They abuse it, they focus on it, they make that the primary thing that's addressed. And the reason I think the scale has so much, perceived credibility is that it was the only form of technology we had for so long when it came to health, when it came to measuring ourselves. No one did body fat really, like in the 60s, 70s, 80s. People weren't doing body fat unless you were a bodybuilder, but that was kind of like fringe. It's not as popular as it is now. Everyone had a scale. You could step on a scale and it would tell you how much you weighed. So we use that as a very archaic method. It's kind of like a sundial. We don't use that to tell time anymore, but a scale has been around for a long time. This is an old device. That's an old device for measurements. So we associate our progress based on that just because it's been ingrained. Now it's kind of shifting a little bit, but our parents grew up using a scale. A lot of us watching, myself, we were born well before cell phones. We grew up without cell phones. We grew up without those things in computers, just like at the birth of them. So we have a lot of mindset to change at that fundamental level. I didn't see your comment. I'm not doing comments right now. We're talking about a specific topic. You sent a huge comment and it disappeared. So sorry, Benedetto. So that being said, the mindset that's ingrained with measuring on a scale is very ancient, and our bodies adapt slowly. So we have an ancient mindset when it comes to what we measure our health with. And a lot of people are trying to see a number on the scale decrease while their physique improves. And when it comes to building muscle and losing fat, that is kind of like the holy grail of fitness. You want to build muscle, you want to lose fat, you want to have this complete transformation. You pretty much want it all at once. But the body, like I just mentioned, is ancient, is slow. Things don't happen very, very quickly. And the body is just a reactionary mechanism. It's a reactionary creature. And I want you to listen very, very carefully, because this is going to give you a very simple and a very logical and scientific explanation for what your body does. It just reacts. That's what adaptation is. Adaptation is a reaction. It's a reaction to environmental factors, whether you're going to the gym, sitting on the ground, you're in a warm climate, cold climate, high altitude, low altitude. Your body reacts. If you expose your body to resistance training, to an environment where there's a lot of stress on the muscles, on the body, on the tendons, on the joints and everything, it'll get stronger. It'll get bigger. Your body will adapt. And if it can't adapt, it'll try as hard as it can. And if something breaks along the way, something breaks, right? If the stress is too much, too consistent, and your body cannot adapt fast enough, it'll get hurt. And that's where injuries come in, right? If your body is not mobile enough to handle the resistance or the force, it hasn't adapted for that yet, you can get hurt. Training is just an adaptation. You're causing a damage, you're creating an environment, and you're forcing your body to adapt. That's why it takes a long time. Think about evolution. It takes hundreds and thousands of millions of years. We are essentially trying to get our bodies on a small scale to evolve in a short period of time. Yesterday, I was talking about that jabroni that expected results like in a week or two. That's the worst mindset you could possibly have. Expectations for things to happen quickly. And when it comes to building muscle and losing fat and trying to do both of these, they're both challenging. They're both challenging to lose fat. It's challenging to lose fat. It's challenging to get your body to adapt to a new lifestyle or to new habits. It's challenging for your body to build muscle. It's even more challenging to build muscle than it is to lose fat, especially if you have extra fat. If you have extra stuff, your body rarely has extra muscle, okay? You don't have extra muscle unless you're taking anabolic steroids and then your natural hormone production can't maintain that type of muscle mass. You have extra fat, you're never going to have extra muscle. You're not going to. But having extra body fat, it's easy to lose some of that fat, especially when it's extra. It's more than what your body should be having because it's just extra. But getting rid of that important fat, because fat stores nutrients. Fat's good for hormone production. Fat's good for mineral and vitamin storage. You need fat. It's good for protection, for the liver, for energy. That's what your body needs fat. Fat is good. Having fat on your body is essential. You're never going to be 0% body fat. Even when you get lower, like in the low teens and like high, single digits, if you ever make it that far, it's not necessarily healthy. Okay? It's good to have body fat. Body fat is what helps your body survive. It's important for yourself. And when you're trying to evolve and force your body to adapt, when you get lower with body fat, it becomes less of a goal. It becomes less of a priority for your body to adapt to what you're doing. It starts restricting and defending itself. So let me explain that one more time. Okay, in these middle ranges of adaptation, your body will adapt. Your body will hit plateaus, and a plateau is when your body's adaptation matches your experience, your environment. Your body will match the strength. It'll match the muscle mass that it needs to do the lifts that you do, the overload that you're exposing your body to, your body adapts over time. That's muscle growth, that's endurance and whatnot. After a while, when you start getting really, really low in body fat, or you start building a ton of muscle mass, you start getting to these limits, right? These outer edges of what is naturally possible for your individual body, you start to get these defense mechanisms kicking in. Your body essentially shuts down. That's why it gets harder and harder to build more and more muscle. That's why it gets harder and harder to get leaner and leaner naturally without sacrificing muscle mass, because essentially you are forcing your body to adapt past a point of health and proactiveness, so to speak, because your body is defending itself against this environment, the food that you're eating, the resistance you're putting it under. And it gets to the point where your body starts essentially getting scared. Your body will adapt to anything as long as it survives. Your body, heart beating, functioning, able to reproduce, that's the number one focus. That's the number one thing for your body. So when you go extremely lean, let's say from a guy's standpoint, when you get extremely lean, especially naturally, and you go lower, 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 testosterone starts dropping. Your body starts cannibalizing muscle tissue. You start looking emaciated. Just look at natural bodybuilding competitions. These guys look sickly. They don't look like the guys on the Olympia stage because they're not taking tons and tons and tons and tons of steroids, right? They're not replacing those hormones that drop when you go extremely low body fat. It's not natural for the body. So when you get very, very lean, you start getting flat, right? You start getting flat. You start feeling skinnier. You start looking skinnier because your body is not as saturated with glycogen. Your body is not saturated with these elements that keep the muscles full. Your hormones start shifting. Your body starts going into more of a stressed state because it's scared. It's trying to survive. Your body, food is scarce, energy is scarce. You're losing fat, and eventually your body can bonk and just kind of crash out. And that's why when you get really, really lean, it's not healthy and you don't look that good. So there's a certain level of body fat that's optimal for everyone, and most of it's in a middle range. Like you can look lean, you can see definition, but not being sinewy and shredded to the bone, that's not natural and that's not healthy for the body. So when you take these two extremes, building muscle, losing fat, and you try to do them at the same time, and that's what a lot of people are asking me. All right, I'm trying to build muscle, and then people are messaging me asking about building muscle and then shrinking their waist, building muscle and getting leaner. I'm trying to bulk up, but I also want to cut down fat and certain. It's not going to happen. Let's get this out in the open. You're not going to bulk and cut at the same fucking time. You're not going to do both. You're not going to build muscle and get leaner. Can we agree? Let's make this like Congress, yay or nay. If you agree, say yay. If you disagree, say nay. This will be the most efficient Congress ever, I think. We'll all agree. You're not going to be building muscle and losing fat at the same time. There are certain situations. Where your body can do both. And that would be if you're a beginner, if you have excessive body fat, like you're very obese, there are periods where your body will likely do a little bit of both. But once you find that balance point, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Anyone that's building muscle and getting leaner, like technically, if you measure it, they're building muscle and getting leaner, they're likely taking something. They're taking some kind of hormone. They're switching the chemical messages inside their body that is delivering the information on what the body does. That's what hormones are. And steroids are hormones, okay? So let me explain what hormones are briefly. We've done this in some previous episodes, but it's very interesting because we think of, oh, steroids do this. But what are steroids? Steroids are hormones. Hormones are messengers. They're molecules. They're different types of messengers. They're just messengers. They're messengers in the body, kind of like an email. It sends a message for things to act. It'll send a message and cause a gland to secrete another hormone. It'll cause an organ to do something. It'll cause an effect, okay? And when you have certain hormones that you're adding, if you're injecting a steroid, a hormone, right, that will lead to a certain effect because it sends certain messages and signals in the body, doesn't that make sense? It'll maybe get your body to metabolize fats more than it would normally if it wasn't, because your body doesn't do it naturally. If you want to build, You need a surplus of energy. You need extra calories. You need more calories than you're using so you have extra tools to build. You cannot build a 10-story building with the building materials for 5 stories. How simple is that? Not the simplest analogy possible. You have X amount of bricks and mortar and all that stuff to build a building, and you only have enough for a 5-story building. How the fuck are you going to make it 10 stories? You aren't. You aren't. You're not going to build it to be 10 stories. You don't have the tools. You don't have the raw material. You cannot do it. You cannot build the building higher than the material you have to build it fucking high. It's not going to happen. Okay? That being said, if you don't have enough energy, you don't have enough tools, and you don't have the raw material to build that type of tissue, you're not creating enough overload to stimulate that kind of growth, and you don't have enough materials to build, you're not going to build. Okay? When you cut fat, what does it mean when you're cutting fat? It means your body needs energy. Okay? Fat is stored energy in the body. Fat doesn't flex. Fat isn't moving around. Fat is stored energy, like money in the bank. Okay? For your body to go after stored fat, you need energy. Your body needs to think to itself, shit, I need some more energy. We're not getting enough calories, so I'm going to have to take from these deposits that I put away. That is because you are in an energy deficit. Okay? You are utilizing more energy than you are consuming, so your body has to go into its energy stores. This is called a caloric deficit. It doesn't need to be extreme. You don't have to cut 3,000 calories a day. You could be in a deficit of maybe 500 calories. Okay? This is enough to stimulate your body to be in a deficit and to start looking for other places for energy. And that's that. People that get really flat, that lose a lot of muscle, that cut too fast, or cutting too many calories, or trying to do it extreme, they're trying to do it fast. And that's where you'll flush out a lot of water, you'll hit a wall, you'll bonk out, you'll fucking rebound and yo-yo back and forth because you're doing things extreme and you're losing a lot of water weight, blah, blah, back and forth. This is how the body works. So if you're trying to build muscle, caloric surplus, you're trying to lose weight, burn fat, caloric deficit, how the fuck are you going to get into a surplus and a deficit at the same fucking time, you asshole? How are you going to get a surplus and a deficit at the same fucking time, you asshole? Maybe I'll just be a broken record and I'll just repeat that phrase over and over again for the next 20 minutes. How are you going to do both? You're not going to. So here's what people do. They go through a bulking cycle, or they go through a cutting cycle. They pick one. If you're trying to look a certain way, here's what you're going to have to do. A lot of you are trying to lose fat before you build muscle. Big mistake. Big mistake. If you have extra body fat, focus on building muscle. You'll probably metabolize some fats, especially the extra stuff that, will kind of, when your metabolic rate increases and your basal metabolic rate increases, if you have a lot of extra fat, you can, mobilize some of that while you're building muscle. But that's usually when you're extremely obese or you are a brand new person in the gym. And again, this is why some people get really discouraged after they start training, because at the beginning of their training, it's called Newbie Gains. We talk about that slang in the industry, Newbie Gains. When you start training, your body responds very, very, very quickly. In many cases, your strength increases. You might see some initial changes quickly because everything is a brand new stimulus. The only way your body adapts is by getting a stimulus. And a stimulus means something external, something is happening, something is triggering your body to force a response. Okay. And if that stimulus exists for a longer period of time, your body eventually adapts to handle that stimulus. So at the beginning, if you're new to training, everything's a new stimulus. Everything is new. You've never been to a gym before, let's say, right? A bench press, you've never done it. It's brand new. Your body's like, what the fuck is this? You go to the pull down machine or pull up machine. What the fuck is this? You go do squats. What the fuck is this? You get on the step mill. What the fuck is this? Your body is freaking out. Everything is brand new. Everything is a shock. Everything is new. Everything is brand new. So your strength increases, your proprioception, your neuromuscular coordination increases, your strength goes very, very fast. increases quicker than your muscle gain, but you'll get stronger quicker. You'll see some muscle growth quicker, especially if you're doing everything else right too, but your body will respond faster because it's all new. Well, what happens when you've been training for 10 or 15 years? There isn't a lot of stuff that's brand new anymore. Your body, even though it might get overloaded, it might get sore, your body has been through that shit. Your body knows what's going on. Your body has experienced squats. When I go to the gym and I do bench press or I do pull-ups, it can be challenging. I'll break my muscles down. I'll get a great pump and I'll feel, but my body knows what that's all about. My body knows that feeling. My body knows if I did the workout today, if I go back 10, 15 years and I do a workout today that or back then, I would be fucking in a wheelchair. I would be crippled. I was training hard then, but with the weights, first off, I wouldn't be able to lift what I do now, but it's because of all those years of adaptation and training and exposure. Once you've been exposed to all those different variables, all those different angles, all those different weights and high reps and low reps and volume, it gets harder and harder to cause the stimulus and the desire and the need, most importantly, the need. It's harder to create the need for your body to adapt. It's harder to create the need for your body to say, all right, let's go and build some more muscle. After all these fucking years, all right, fine, let's build some more. It's less interested, essentially. If we're trying to break it down so it's easy to understand, your body is less interested in putting on more muscle or building more because it's just used to those stresses. It's not exciting anymore. It's not shocking. It's not amazing. Cell phones, right? Smartphones, iPhones, when they first came out, holy shit, it's fucking ridiculous. Now they come out, we take it for granted. We're just used to it. Oh, you touch a screen, you scroll, shit. Oh man, this keyboard sucks. I can't see it's better. I like this other phone better. When they first came out, everyone was losing their shit over it, but we're used to it now. Same thing with the body. The body gets used to train. The body gets used to that exposure. So you need to realize that when you're in the middle of it, when you're in the trenches, you need to pick one. The reason why people go through cycles and training cycles, because it takes time to build muscle. You don't do a bulking cycle for a month. You don't bulk for 2 months. You bulk for 6 months. You bulk for a year. You progressively increase your overload. You progressively increase your intensity. You increase your calories as needed as you gain. And then after you build that muscle, then you start slowly trimming out body fat by going into a caloric deficit slowly. And by training hard and still training as you're in that deficit and consuming significant enough protein, X, Y, and Z, you will maintain a lot of the muscle mass that you've gained while getting rid of some of the extra body fat you've accumulated from that growth period, from that excessive period. Okay? Will you lose some muscle as you cut? Yes, we all lose a little bit because you're in a deficit, but you can maximize what you keep through experience and through proper nutrition and training as you're cutting, because your body still needs that muscle, right? If you're cutting, but you're still training hard, your body is still trying to maintain that muscle because you're still exposing it to that environment, even if you're in a slight deficit. Are you going to lose some strength? Sure. Are you going to lose some muscle? Sure. But you can minimize that and then keep, let's say, 5, 10, 15 pounds of muscle that you've gained over the course of those months or years of bulking. And that's why people do cycles, because that's how the fucking body works. That's how it works. End of story. It's how it works. Everyone should be lifting weights. Everyone should be doing resistance. I don't care if you're trying to lose 100 pounds or gain weight. You should be lifting weights. You should not be waiting to lift weights. You should start right away. Okay, but understand that if your goal is to gain muscle, you need a caloric surplus. If your goal is to lose fat, you need to be in a caloric deficit. And you know me, I'm the guy that tells you, don't count calories, don't count calories. I'm also the guy that tells you it's important to count calories after you have that foundation. You should not be worrying about counting calories before you understand what foods your body reacts best to. Once you figure out the quality of the food that works best for your body, then you start playing with the caloric intake, and then all the chips will fall into place. Very, very important. Okay? This is an issue that will continue to come up. This is an issue that is continuously stressing people out. And I don't understand why people think this is possible. I think it's because you go online and you see younger people that are muscular and lean. However, a lot of people online, especially bodybuilders, they look bigger than they really are. It's very easy to be 5'8", 165 and look big and ripped because you have a smaller frame and it's easier to put on muscle and to look thick and look wide when you're shorter and have a you have a smaller stature. You have less canvas to paint. Most bodybuilders are not 6'5". Most bodybuilders, if you look at someone that's very tall, they usually look more slender. Even if they're strong, it's harder to pack on enough mass to look big when you're super, super tall. Okay? Most bodybuilders are 5'7", 5'8". They're not super tall. They're not super tall for a reason. It's hard to have that kind of muscle mass that's going to stand out and be able to compete at a high level, because for every inch you gain, for every inch you are, for every inch of height, it's like 5 or 10 pounds of muscle that will separate you from looking the same way you did at a shorter stature. It's a big difference. Okay. So start reassessing what you're actually thinking about, because if you're trying to drive north and south at the same fucking time, you are going to be disappointed every time. Every time. Can you do a lean bulk? I mean, you can if you want to be a fucking scientist and micromanage and it's possible to minimize fat, extra fat. Arnold was 6'2", I believe, 6'3". Okay, Arnold was 6'3". He was also 245. He wasn't anywhere near as big as the guys today, and he was taking tons of juice. What's your point? You can be tall and be very muscular, but you're going to build a lot more muscle. You're going to have to put on a lot more size. It's going to be a much larger body weight at a higher height. But when you look online, what I'm saying is, you go on Instagram and stuff, pictures don't give someone's height. People aren't talking about their stats all the time, but you see all these people that look muscular and lean. And when you're lean and you're very, very lean, right? You have lower body fat percentage, you look bigger. That's why people want to be ripped, because you see the muscles more. You look bigger than you are when you're cut. It's an illusion. Okay? Being lean is an illusion. It makes you look bigger than you are because you see more separation, you see more detail, and then it gives you the idea that it's more muscle than the same person with a higher body fat percentage. That's why everyone's like, I want to get ripped. However, when someone tells me that they want to get ripped, what they're really saying is, I want to be big and fucking cut. That's what they're saying. They're thinking that, but they're saying, I want to be ripped. When I hear I want to be ripped, I think you want to lose body fat. And most of you, if you lost body fat, you haven't put on enough muscle to actually have a physique. You would look skinny. You would look skinny like a fucking 70s or 80s rock star. That's the way you would look. You haven't put on enough mass. Most people try to cut long before they have put on any significant foundation of muscle mass. If I got absolutely shredded to the bone, I would look fucking skinny. Relative, I would look a lot more slender. You lose a lot of size. There's a lot of fat in between the muscles. There's a lot of fat around the muscles. That's what happens. Okay? It's just how your body is. Okay? It's just how your body is. And there's some other conversations I've been having that are extremely frustrating. People that are trying to cut corners, people that are trying to take anabolics and pro hormones and shit in their fucking teens. I've had conversations. I had a conversation. I'm going to share it with you. I'm going to, cover the name. I'll probably post in my Instagram story, but full conversation. Young kid hasn't put on any type of significant muscle mass, 18 years old. And he's asking me about pro hormones. I'm like, bro, you are way too fucking young. You have time. You're 18 years old. You've been lifting for a couple years. I see your profile. You look like you're a baby-faced little kid. Okay? You have your head in the right direction, but you're just thinking about it all wrong. You're going to fuck up your body taking that shit. You haven't given your body the right foundation. You haven't put in enough work. You haven't put in anywhere near enough work and time to cultivate a physique before you start even thinking about taking bullshit like that. That fucks with your hormones, that fucks with your liver. These are serious conversations that really frustrate me, and really, I'm just continuously disappointed that so many people out there are giving bad information recklessly to young people. And everyone's trying to be what they see online. Everyone's trying to emulate a physique. And when you're 18 years old, I get it. I'm sympathetic. You go on, you're 18 years old, you see all these kids and fucking, Gymshark guys that are in their teens and they're taking SARMs and anabolics and they're not telling anyone, and everyone thinks, oh, I want to look like that. I want to be like that. So you're trying to cut corners. You're trying to get there too. And you think it's possible, or you think it's good. You think it's acceptable. You think it's on a pedestal. And it's really dangerous. It's really dangerous. It's very toxic for the liver. It's very high risk. And especially when you're young, you can permanently fuck yourself up for life. Look, if you want to do steroids and you want to take pro hormones, fucking by all means, go do it. But wait until your 30s. Wait until you're developed. Wait until you have 10, 15 years of training under your belt and you've built and you've maximized your physique. You've maximized and you understand training programming. You understand rest periods. You understand progressive overload. You understand the ins and outs of what works for your body, what doesn't. You understand nutrition. You've built that solid base. And then if you want to make that choice, that's up to you. It's your body. I'm not demonizing it, but at a young age, it's extremely, and there are people that are encouraging. There are people that are encouraging this in the gym. You know, there are people that are influencing children to fucking do this kind of stuff to their bodies. It's extremely dangerous. It's sad. It's scary. It's disappointing, but everyone's trying to cut corners, and it's hard to give someone perspective when they're so young. It's hard to give someone actual knowledge and wisdom when they're so young. They don't want to hear it. Can't convince someone who's, you know, and after just going back and forth for a few moments, I'm like, why did you even ask me? You know, and he said he just wanted to see my opinion. I'm like, well, my opinion is fucking don't do it. And he's probably going to do it anyway. Like, it just, I don't know, it just completely wasted my time because you just want my opinion. I gave you the fucking answer, and it's the answer that you should take. But he's probably going to listen to whatever fucking jabronis or bullshit or fucking crap he's hearing in his inner circle because people want to believe what they want to believe. I don't blame. I mean, you want to build muscle. I get it. Everyone here wants to build muscle. We're here to build our physiques. We're here to improve. We're here to challenge ourselves. But there's a time and a place, and there's a lot of shit out there that it's just not worth it. It's not worth the risk. It's just absolutely not. And if you're trying to build muscle, you have to fucking earn it. It's not going to happen fast. You're 18, you're 19, you're 20. Get used to digging in for 10 or 15 fucking years. Why do you think Mr. Olympia, why do you think professional bodybuilders, why do you think people that are excelling in bodybuilding are in their 30s, mid and late 30s? Why? Why do you think the champions, why do you think the Olympia champions are in their 30s or early 40s? It's because it takes a long fucking time to build muscle, even if you're taking a lot of shit. It takes a long time to carve out muscles, to add separation, to balance out the muscles, to train hard. It takes a shitload of time. It's a long time. I don't care if you're taking shit. If you're trying to build that kind of muscle, no matter what, the body takes time to adapt. And that's just the damn truth. You're not going to have it young. It takes time. You're just getting started. And you can tell when someone's lifting when they're young, the muscle's soft. The muscles are soft. The body is soft. They're not shredded to the bone. Like their body's young. It's still developing. You haven't had that muscle maturity. You haven't built that deep, dense tissue yet. Absolutely. What was really depressing is I looked at his profile, and the kid's barely, like, his form isn't great. He's just like just baby-faced kid just working on the gym. Great. That's kind of when I started. But seriously, like, doesn't have anywhere near the foundation where you should start fucking with that. It's not going to work out, and I know it, and it's sad. It's sad, you know, when you have, you just can't. I just can't waste my time and my breath and my energy because you can't change someone's mind if they don't want it changed. Holly, my friend who is claiming he knows what he's doing with SARMs, is 22 and 23 or 23. I'm worried. He's a hard trainer. He does powerlifting. He's muscular and says he's maxed on his physique. No, he hasn't. You don't max your physique when you're 22 and 23. You're just saying that to justify taking stuff. He has never really ate cleanly, though, to see where his lifts physique to go without. Yeah, most people don't. I agree with you, Holly. I mean, people are going to do what they're going to do, not to mention research chemicals that cause people a lot of issues. I'm not saying there's not science there. I'm not saying there's not science with SARMs and stuff. I think the endocrine system and endocrinology and all this, like, you know, gene work and stuff. I mean, the future is bright. There's going to be a lot of stuff that eventually gets proven to be safe or that can be mostly effectively monitored. But this stuff is illegal. It's underground. Like, people aren't doing it the right way. People aren't doing it the right way. If you're going to take anabolics and you have some kind of like a doctor's note, you have a prescription, you go and you're monitored, your blood work's monitored in this, obviously that's a much safer approach than people just like buying it from some dude at a gym and injecting. They don't know their blood work. They don't know what's going on in their body, if it's helping, if it's hurting. They're not doing, post-cycle therapy properly. And they're fucking themselves up for life. And they don't know. They're just doing, it's like flying a plane without radar. Doing that stuff without blood work and without clean stuff. You don't know where it's coming from. It's dangerous. It's dangerous because of how people do it. It's very reckless. Tell them to drink a gallon of whole milk, eat a jar of peanut butter, and lift weights twice a day. Ugh, gross. Sounds like diarrhea nonstop. Everybody wants to be a bodybuilder until it's time to eat 10,000 calories a day. It's true. You're not going to have to eat 10,000. But yeah, everyone wants to be a bodybuilder. Everyone wants to build muscle until I tell them, well, when we talk about it, let's say we break it down. I'm doing one of like my little chats. And I say, well, if they're eating 2,000 calories, you have to be eating 3 or 3,500. And when you're sitting there stuffing your face and you're eating that last little bit of sweet potato or whatever, and you feel like you're trying not to gag on every single bite, and you're going to have to do that whole meal again in 2, 3, or 4 hours, it's a lot less romantic. And then you realize you have to do that again tomorrow, a few times a day, and the next day, and do that for weeks and weeks and weeks. And as you grow, you have to increase your meal size. Yeah, it's a lot less romantic. That's why most people don't do it. That's why most people don't get it. They don't get results because they don't understand the level of effort to force your body into a physical adaptation. What are you referring to that affects the hormones and liver? Oh, we're talking about pro-hormone supplements. We're talking about SARMs, which I'm no expert, that's for sure, but it's what selective androgen receptor modulators. I believe that's what the acronym is for. So it's kind of like it stimulates the same type of receptor sites as anabolics do. He can ruin himself at later ages by starting anything steroid. Yes, I know. Absolutely, Eric. I 100% agree. I told him, I'm going to post the whole chat. I'm going to blur out the name, but I'm going to post the whole chat. I don't know if I'm going to do it on my Instagram, on the feed, or in the story, but I'm going to share it because I want you to like see. Yeah, I probably will do it in my feed because I want people to like jump in and be like, dude, I want there, and I'm not trying to put them on blast, but I'm trying to make a difference here. I'm trying to provide you all with the insights from someone who's seen it from many different angles. Okay? It doesn't matter what you take if you don't have that foundation. The foundation is the work. The foundation is the calories. The foundation is the training, and it's the time. It's the time when you're 18. Like I remember 18. I remember when I first started lifting, and this is back in, let's just say it's like 2000, 2001 is when I like started going to college. I was lifting in high school. I started lifting a little bit before that, but I remember this is back when the internet was like a baby and people were scared of taking creatine. I was like, don't take creatine. Creatine's. And I remember I had purchased, ready for this? I remember I had purchased from a friend of mine in high school a bottle of like Twin Lab creatine capsules. And I kept it hidden from my parents, because I didn't want to, because creatine, and I was like scared to take it. I was really hesitant to take creatine. When I was 18, I was hesitant and I was really freaking out about the concept of taking creatine. Creatine, everyone. And then I'm having a conversation with someone that's talking about taking pro hormones and fuck. I'm like, my mindset was so far away. I was paranoid about taking fucking creatine. I was paranoid about taking creatine. I remember it. I was like fucking 16, 17 years old. I was paranoid about it. Did a little bit and then I didn't get more. But it's creatine, like some capsules or whatever, as if that was going to make a shitload of difference. But I'm telling you, right? That's where my mindset was. And now fucking everyone's taking SARMs and pro hormones. It's like shit, way too young. I'm so glad I didn't have to deal with that crap. Russell, what's up, man? God, I remember supplement season. Yeah. I used to take tons of supplements. I told you all that. I used to buy so many supplements. I used to do everything. I used to buy all that shit. That's why I'm telling you now, you don't fucking need it. You don't fucking need it because I haven't taken it in years. and I'm making better progress now than I was before, and I feel better. I was taking protein and creatine and glutamine and BCAAs and ZMA and essential amino acids and all those fucking little things and scooping and mixing and measuring. And it's fun. You feel like a scientist, but you start not focusing as much on food. Like, food's the most important thing. Food, rest. You know, you don't do things right. You don't do things right when you're fucking young. You don't do things right. So, Kyle, in today's world, the quick fix is all the rage. 98% made up statistic. Isn't it fun to make up statistics? Just pull out fucking numbers. Of all people in the world would quit before they start if you told them it would take years of working out. For sure. Colton, I remember the paranoia about creatine. Haha, it's hilarious to think about now. I know. I remember looking for websites for things about creatine, and you could barely find anything. Now, of course, that's like child's play. You know, they put creatine in fucking baby formula. They don't. I'm just joking, but they probably do. It's found in meat. It's from meat. Okay. Obviously, if you take a couple grams of creatine, it's more than what you would eat in like a couple pounds of meat. But that's what we're talking about. People were fucking afraid of that shit. Times have changed. But what I want to do is I definitely want to. I want to share that with you. I think it'd be better from the Instagram story. I think it'd be better for me to do one of those carousel. I'll probably do that after this episode. But here's the thing. I'm going to make this a point. I want all of you, because it really got to me. It really bothered me that this was an issue. I'm going to post the conversation, of course, anonymously, but I'm going to do it in one of those carousel images, you know, when it comes to Instagram. So I really appreciate it if when I post that in a short after this episode, go there, comment, and I'm not saying say what I just said. Voice your opinion, but just let's have a conversation about it. Let's get it out there, because if I can help someone else make a better decision, maybe this person's lost, maybe this person is just going to go do it anyway and not, you know, and put his head down and ignore everything I'm saying, fine. But if there are other young kids, 18-year-olds, 19, 20, whatever, looking at that, maybe it'll change someone else's mind or will answer someone else's question. So if I can't save that person or get my point across there, perhaps it will help for someone else. So yeah, there's a lot of shit out there. Yeah, check that out. I was Apex certified, and the entire cert was programmed to sell supplements. A lot of certifications have their own supplements that become like multi-level marketing. There's a lot of shit out there. There's a lot of shit that just distracts people from the basics. I want to get people to sleep better. I want to get people to eat better. I want to get people to hydrate better. I want people to rest more. I want people to do more yoga and meditate and manage stress better. Those are the foundations of life, and we're forgetting all that for these supplements that just don't do it better. They just don't. There's no substitute for giving your body rest. There's no supplements. That's exactly what the reasons for me too, Matthew. I'm tired of it. That's why I'm doing my own thing. That's why I can rage. I'll do my own fucking thing. I don't need to abide by whatever your certifications are. The certifications are just like the education industry and the school industry. Certifications are just trying to sell you shit too. They're trying to sell you CEUs. They want you to re-sign and recertify and pay this and pay this and pay that and pay this. Once you have the information, we have the internet. You can learn shit on your own. You know, you have the basics of understanding, you have the basics of knowledge. You need to put in the work to educate yourself and to try it in the field. That's why I don't subscribe to any of those organizations anymore, because they don't provide the value that's needed in the industry. They just certainly don't. So that's why I don't actively try to pursue anything like that. The body hasn't changed. The body hasn't changed. And the information that we're learning that we need to pursue for actual health is starting to be tested now. We're getting into genetics. We're getting into ancestral dieting. We're getting into the history. We're really trying to focus on some of these other aspects of health that are far more important than, oh, how many reps are optimal for hypertrophy? We know that already. But you need the certification to get a job. That's just because of the fucking system. But that's not what's going to give you. That's the difference. A certification doesn't make you a good trainer. It doesn't give you enough information. Nowhere close. A certification is just a drop in the bucket. And that's where a lot of people fall short. You get a certification, you call yourself a trainer, you start passing around information, and now you're certified. And it's fucking dangerous. It's so dangerous because people just accept it. Boom. You could say you're a fucking trainer, not have a certification, and people wouldn't blink twice. Trust me, I've taught these certifications. I've held the top fucking certifications in the freaking world. It's smoke and mirrors a lot of times. It's all about what you do with it. It's all about the education, how you approach it. Okay, otherwise it's a piece of fucking paper. It's a test. It's a test that you pass. You circle multiple choice fucking things. Oh, you have a certification now. You can get these certifications without ever stepping foot in a gym. It's nuts. It's crazy. It's like going to school. It's like going to medical school, but never being in the fucking operating room and then going and being a surgeon. That's the equivalent. Obviously, two different extremes, but to take a test and then be able to be a certified trainer, that's in person, right? You know that you're physically helping someone lift, right? Right? You don't go take a test and then go into surgery. Hey, I'm in the OR now. Yeah. It's like this. It's literally the way everything works in this country. The way personal training works in this country is the same as those Holiday Inn Express commercials. It's, oh, well, no, I don't. I've never been to a gym before, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. That's what a personal training certification is in most cases. I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express. I did pass a test. So let's jump on that squat rack, shall we? Let's load up some plates. Scary shit. Scary fucking shit. Let's see. A buddy of mine convinced me to try SARMs. I'm a type 1 diabetic, and it totally fucked up my glucose levels for weeks. I made minimal gains and harmed my body in the long term. Now he's pushing test injections on me. Get the fuck out of here. Well, Kyle, I would really appreciate if you chimed in and you jump into the post that I'm going to make. So I'm going to do that right now. I want to make sure that everyone, any other questions, we'll stay here for a couple moments. But yeah, we have to focus on the basics as a society, and from a fitness standpoint, we have to focus on the basics, and that's what's getting lost. That's what's getting lost. You start going after these little fluff levels, these fluff higher rungs on the ladder. You're missing the basics. You're missing the foundation that's actually going to give you the most results. Eric Dean, I know someone who just certified as a nutritionist. I wouldn't listen to anything his advice. I have better advice just from listening to the Daily Swole. Thanks, dude. Well, you can get certified as a nutritionist and be fat. You could be a fat doctor. You could be a fat nutritionist. You could be an unhealthy nutritionist. God, like 50 years ago, 4 out of 5 doctors recommend Camels. Doctors are recommending cigarettes, so what are you going to trust? Nick Schutz, would you recommend trying to start off training as a profession, working for a gym, or as a solo-owned business? That's a whole other topic. I'm not going to get into that right now. I would highly recommend that you experience it for yourself. You can shadow someone that you respect, or, maybe shadow a trainer, but we've done those conversations before. I think maybe it's time for another episode, because a lot of you are looking to get into fitness or do training. That's a whole other conversation, but yeah, that has many different layers and different reasons for why you would or wouldn't. So maybe if that's something that you're all interested in, we can do another one of those personal training industry episodes. Eric Dean, he pushes calories, doesn't matter the food. Oh, he's one of those macros, if it fits your macros or measuring. Yeah. Jason, there's no masterclass tonight. I didn't promote that. That's going to be, I haven't scheduled it yet. I mentioned it, but I haven't scheduled it yet, so no one had that alert. So we're not doing a masterclass tonight, but it will be coming up. So you'll be fine. But don't forget, if you missed it, if you miss any of those, this could be up on the site. All right, so we'll do that. We'll probably do that, Nathan, then. Holly, you need a master's in nutrition to legally give out meal plans in Australia. My doctors forced me to see a sports dietitian when I had to put on weight. She had me on sustagen, white potatoes, oats, bread, peanut butter. No wonder I relapsed a few years later. Not sustainable at all. Yeah, not sustainable at all. One of the fundamentals of nutrition is consistency. If you cannot maintain, human beings are designed to have consistent diets. We're not designed to eat random shit from all over the world all the time. So that's why we tend to overeat. We tend to overeat calories because of all these different flavors and all these different food sources. We're meant to eat locally. We're meant to eat regionally. We're meant to have very, very consistent food intakes. And when you have the same types of food every day, guess what happens? You start resetting your taste buds. You start eating more for function. You stop going after stimulation and these little glucose spikes and these little, treats all the time. And you actually lose more weight and you have much more balance with your caloric intake. That's why consistency is everything. So if you can't maintain your nutrition, no matter what it is, if you can't maintain your nutrition, it's not a good diet plan. It's not a good approach. If you're doing something that's very stressful, it's very hard for you to keep consistent with, it's not going to work out long term. There's no way. There's no way. Consistency with nutrition is essential. So we'll continue this. Great questions. We'll probably do, if you want to hear another fitness in the industry episode, I'll probably promote that. Maybe we'll do that. We'll probably do that soon because I think we're due for one of those. And make sure that you plug in. I'm going to make that post on Instagram. I'm telling you, everyone, I want you in there. I want you voicing your opinion in the comments when that goes up because it's a very important conversation. And I just want to share it with you because this is the type of thing that is really ubiquitous in our society. And if we can help one person, that would be really making a difference. So anyway, thank you, everyone, for joining me for episode 937 of the Most Muscular Swolecast, Beardcast, Broadcast, Gaincast, Mancast, Pimpcast, and Sleazecast. In the realm, because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. If you are not yet subscribed to the podcast, please do so, swolenormousx.com. And you can follow me everywhere, every platform at Swolenormous. And I'll see you all tomorrow for episode 938 of The Daily Swole. Peace, McGee's fam. Deuce Magoose, your boy Papa Swolio. Out.